Well, hello, sweet, sweet, lovely people. Lovely, sensitive, kind people. Normal people, and maybe not so normal people. I know you're here because you're not feeling so happy right now. Now, there's a lot of crazy things going on right now, and I am here to help you make sense of them or to just bear your burden with you of crazy land, living in crazy land together. So I am, of course, the infamous Dr. Whimsy, and we're going to be doing some tarot card blitzes in just a second. Hopefully, you enjoy this reading. It is being given to you from my kitchen, and you can see in the background here are some of the herbs that go into making a naturopathic remedy. I am a naturopathic doctor and a medical intuitive, in addition to being a reader. So, this is, you may have your own kitchen healing setup if you are a kitchen table herbalist, as I am. But this is my setup, and I'm very proud of it. I also like to do quite a bit of gardening. Over here, where the sun is shining, is where I do gardening. I do a little bit of hydroponic. You can see there also I grow sprouts and I plant them out in the garden, and that supplies, believe it or not, quite a substantial amount of greens for my diet. It's amazing how much plants you can grow in such a small space. All right, so I've decided today from my kitchen that we would go ahead and we would do the empath prayer together, and then we would see what we find. I know people are very worried. There's a lot going on, and we'll try to get to as many things as possible. All right, let's do it. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively we say, Amen. The first thing I want to do, and maybe this is because I'm an American, and we Americans are a little centric, but I want to get into the head of Donald Trump. It looks like Senator wasn't allowed into El Salvador to see what was going on in the prisons. Yeah, not a good thing to be shipping U.S. people outside the country. Okay, first card is traveling. I think he's headed. Is he headed to Saudi Arabia again? There's a trip coming up for him. It's interesting that the Middle East is often referred to as Southwest Asia if you're not Eurocentric, and that is a Southwest travel card. So I see Trump traveling. This could be the international trip he had planned. His opposition is the businessman. The business world is starting to think about whether or not they can sabotage or disrupt Trump's business because they stand as the opposition. That's also J.D. Vance's card. There's a real concern he has about investments, investment portfolios, whether or not his investments are going to pan out. I see more stress coming to Donald Trump as well. If you look at this juxtaposition of his Blitz card reading, of course, is just an abbreviated Celtic with the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th cards of a Celtic. Of course, if you're doing my Celtic, you'll do 12 cards because you'll do a base, and then you'll also do a card under the base, which represents karma, the karma of the individual. So the 7th or immediate house for Donald Trump is that we see him traveling in the coming days. We see this opposition coming in from this business person. Could be J.D. Vance. We see concerns here in the hopes and fears, economic, and then we see this continued stress moving in for Donald Trump. The clarification for him has to do with wheeling and dealing, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. His opposition will win a war against him. You can see the King of Wands is moving in with an Ace of Swords. The hope and fear over the economics, that there may have been some foolish or irrational behavior. And the final outcome is strife for Donald Trump. I wonder if I can do one more clarification, because this is just so bad. It's like they declare war on him and he loses. I see more fighting in the GOP as well. I see a lot of fighting happening in the GOP. Okay, so the other thing I was asked to take a look at real quickly had to do with whether or not Donald Trump and Elon Musk were on outs, and if so, what the future of the relationship would be like between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. The future relationship between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Oh, benefactor, the person who receives something about receiving money or receiving justice or a balance. You know, he did receive money from Elon Musk. His opposition, growing strife, the hope and the fear, the relationship, the health of the relationship, if the relationship can maintain itself. And then the final outcome is a Three of Pentacles, which could be a new contract. Whoa, somebody's going to be betrayed. There's a betrayal coming up over this relationship. There's a betrayal and then an attempt. Somebody is attempting to betray or sabotage the relationship between the benefactor, between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. But to be honest with you, I see Donald Trump trying to get back with Elon Musk, because I don't think he can survive without Elon Musk. And I think also he really likes hanging out with Elon Musk. You can see the opposition here, this growth of strife, and then Three of Wands could be a 3-month period. Being stabbed in the back by his benefactor could indicate also that Elon Musk begins to declare war on Trump and Trump administration. Some truth is going to be coming out about their alliance. We can see here an alliance card, and then the sun, and then the final outcome is an attempt to get back with this person, a commitment back. And so they're definitely working very, very hard to break up that relationship. That's how I would interpret it. And I think that Trump will have a really hard time making it without having his friend Elon Musk around. Yeah. All right, so this question had to do with immigration. People wanted to know if the men that had been accidentally sent to ICE custody, one in El Salvador, if anything was going to happen, if they were going to be returned safely back to their families. We can go ahead and take a look at that. We know that a senator was denied access. Senator didn't have access because he was not granted access, which is you have to request it, and then you have to be granted access by the head of the prison, the prison system. And so to just show up, so there was something about he didn't go through the proper application channels. This is what they're saying. This is what you're getting in this energy. I don't think that they're going to be able to pull this off. I think that there's too much opposition coming in. So based on these cards, I don't think that they're going to be able to be shipping Americans overseas to Gitmo or El Salvador or anything else. You can see this power coming in over the issue, the opposition being the presidency, hope and fear, foolishness, and then victory within 1 year. The people have declared war on the president, and the people will win. That is what I see. The people have declared war on the president, and the president will win. I also see Kamala Harris coming back into politics, basically as a judge or political lobbyist, pushing for some kind of criminal action or aggressive action against Trump. You can see this Queen of Wands coming for justice absolute with an Ace of Swords. That's also probably AOC. Is AOC in Aries? Because, man, she does have that Aries feel to it. But this is the kind of strong female energy where you fight, and you fight when you feel that your territory has been encroached upon, and you're willing to do whatever is necessary to get your power back. All right, so people had asked if I could quickly take a look at what's going on in the Middle East. It looks like Hamas, the terrorist organization in Gaza, is now surrounded. They're willing to surrender, supposedly, in exchange for being allowed to be a political body. It feels to me like we're moving much closer to phase 2, where they're given an option to leave the area in exchange for safe passage to leave Gaza. If that's what's going on, and I suspect it is, then the next thing we would start to see is peacekeepers moving into the area so that the rebuild can start to happen. Let's take a look and see about that and what's going on with Hamas. Thanks for being here. If you haven't had a chance to like and subscribe yet, I would really appreciate it. So basically what happened was that it took years and years and years to indoctrinate young people to, it was like North Korea. They had Sesame Street, Hamas like Sesame Street shows. So it took years to indoctrinate people to be this violent and psychopathic. And that was the first wave of Hamas, and they were killed off. And then they were replaced by a second wave of Hamas, which was slightly less trained, slightly less indoctrinated. That wave got killed off. Then came a third wave. They were less trained, less indoctrinated. Then came a fourth wave, until the only people that are left are the least trained and the most moderate, right? Because they haven't had enough time to get into the training system, the Iranian terrorist network, long enough to be fully indoctrinated. So what happens is that just because of a lack of time, Hamas has become weakened. We have this Two of Cups, which would be an issuing of like a surrender, and foolish behavior falling into the pit, which is interesting because they are blowing up a lot of these pits. They're blowing them up, and they're falling in these pits over the issue of success or victory. And then comes this man, the King of Pentacles. It's as if there's going to be a prince or a remarkable man, maybe the head of one of the chieftains in that area, who will become, he's a peacemaker, and he is the man that rises up and helps create a functioning Gaza. And so there's a new king, a new leader in Gaza, who he seeks peace. He seeks a peaceful life for his people. Wants less restrictions, and so there's kind of a cooperation that starts to happen between Gaza and border countries to release some of this constriction. And we see the change happening very quickly, and good tidings to the people of Gaza, the friendly people of Gaza, because they're totally moving, once Hamas is gone, into this new direction and new leadership, which will ultimately be very good for the people of Gaza. All right, and now the last thing was people are concerned about the rising protests that are going on in Europe, a lot of civil unrest about everything from the economy to concerns about immigration. And I just want to check and see what the overall feeling is first in Britain over the economy, over immigration and civil war, and if things are going to calm down at all in Britain. We'll look at Britain first. So I'm seeing that a lot of studies were conducted in Britain regarding healthy immigration. This is the first thing I'm seeing that there were reports that were done by Oxford, by Cambridge, by reputable think tanks to determine what the impact is on healthy immigration in Britain. And the conclusion of the study was that healthy immigration improved the economy of Britain, but that they needed healthy immigration, but they needed to start excluding people with criminal records. It's basically what everybody knew. So you have this Eight of Pentacles moving in. So these reports are coming out. These are the kind of reports, just what we learned in the United States, that when people are law-abiding citizens and they come from other cultures and they have a different way of perceiving things than we do, then it's a fresh look. And so ultimately, because it's new, fresh ideas, that is why it's innovative, and that's why it's good for the economy. You have this other issue about concerns about theft or people coming into the system that don't contribute anything back. And then the hope and fear is the police, that they will go to too many extremes in order to protect their legacy. So it's actually really optimistic in the sense that it shows that the majority of British people are far more connected and far more united than Britain wanted to give them credit for. That when they spoke to people from whether their parents, grandparents had come from Pakistan or from Leeds or wherever, they all shared similar values about wanting to live the good life in Britain, wanting things to be fair, wanting people to be safe, etc. So we have this also High Priestess moving in over the professionalism, and then you have this opening up of the world. A heavy load lay ahead in order to work out and iron out problems regarding immigration, like kicking out terrorists. Nobody wants to live with terrorists. And understanding that this healthy process and evolution is what makes Britain great. Long before the time of William the Conqueror. There have been people coming from other parts of the world, and this is a healthy, necessary part of the evolution of being a Brit. All right, good cards, very good cards. Let's take a look now a little bit at France. As I had said, it looked like Macron was thinking about suing the United States, as was Canada, for violation of certain treaties. It looked like the U.S. was on the verge of getting sued by France, by Macron and the French. Let's take a look. Now, last time I had looked, a couple years ago, I had said that Le Pen was under criminal investigation for taking money from Russia, and that she would probably wind up being tried in international courts, and she would be facing prosecution. And that is actually the direction we see Le Pen going in. She was finally removed. She's facing these criminal charges. And the question, of course, is why did it take France so long? You know, she had a lot of protection. Great cards for France economically. Again, 9 of Cups moving into 7th position. And the opposition card is 10 of Cups. Same thing. Happy family, immigration. It goes back to, is the problem immigration or is the problem lack of integration? Hopes and fears. The King of Cups. So again, that would be a card that has to do with love, emotionalism, being willing to reach across the aisle, mediation. I think of it as like a Cancer male, in the sense that it's the guy who's trying to mediate and work things out between people. We see this strong sense of what is fair, what is right over France, that everybody feels that they have a right to the good life too. And you see the same thing happening in France that's happening in Britain, that there is, instead of a desire to kick people out that are immigrating, there's a recognition that immigration is something that could be healthy and positive. You can see here the wish card, again, Ace of Wands, which would be victory, and the opposition is the family, and Empress, which is wealth. So how can they promote and encourage this immigration of art and culture, etc., which ultimately makes the nation wealthy while simultaneously protecting all citizens from negative influences? You can see here Three of Cups with a mediator's card. We can see a continuing tension with Seven of Wands over territory, and Chariot would indicate more fighting, but ultimately they're moving in the right direction. People are starting to get it, that the solution is that people need to, most people are good, most people want to love their children, most people don't want to terrorize you or be terrorized, and saner heads will prevail in Europe to work it out so that we can continue to have healthy diversity there. And it is a blessing to Europe that there be this type of diversity. All right, so the last thing is I just want to check on Ukraine to make sure that they're okay. I feel like the tide is turning on Ukraine. As I had said when we had done the phases, the 5 phases that we felt were going to happen over the next couple of years, it's likely that Putin will continue to be isolated and that he will likely be removed by Russian leadership. Let's take a look and see about the future of Ukraine and Putin. I keep getting this energy like they're giving him an opportunity to leave. You know, they would protect him the way that they protected other people who quit, like Yeltsin, for example, when Yeltsin was forced out. You can see this Knight of Cups coming in. But Zelensky always presents as the King of Wands, which is like the war king. He's in serious war mode, like King David. And there's this hope of justice over the issue and an encroaching sense that he's losing control over his territory and over the narrative. Putin, trying desperately to schmooze and seduce people, to get people to go along with his ideas, is becoming increasingly difficult. He's like the guy who seduces the girl in order to get her to buy him, you know, a drink or a cup of coffee, you know. the struggling actor, right? The struggling actor, the struggling, you know, who knows how to, the Don Juan who never has any money, who's got to seduce and charm people in order to get his meal paid, right? You know, we've probably met people like that, but you have this kind of schmoozer lover aspect to him over this issue, and then you have this opposition to him as Zelensky, and boy, Zelensky is loved. He's got the Ten of Cups over him, hopes and fears, the issue of justice, and Empress is coming over the situation. Seven of Wands, he has to defend his territory. People just don't want this war anymore. People don't want the war anymore to continue, and I think in a very short amount of time, it will not be up to Putin when the war ends. He simply is losing power. We're entering into the time of the Empress. You know, there's a time for war, there's a time for peace. We're entering into a time that people want to get back to the garden, back to the green, back to planting, back to productivity. It's not, people are not feeling this desire for war. People want unity, they want the good life, they don't want to fight with each other. And for that reason, Putin's war cry just seems out of touch with the desires of the people. All right, I want to thank you for watching this video from my beautiful kitchen here in downtown Portland, Oregon. If you need to have a reading with me or see me as a physician through telemedicine, you can book me through Booksy, and that information is below this video. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.